Hey guys, so this is a what if, a request what if that I actually do like very much, and I like how I'm gonna make my own story off of this. Now, dude or woman, not gonna be gender specific. If you are watching this and if you like the video I'm gonna be doing, just go in the comments and say what should part 2 be about. Okay? So yeah, so basically this is what Deku was in the Pokemon world. Now basically Deku's not My Academia isn't going to take place with Pokemon. I'm actually going to be teleporting Deku into the Pokemon world and see how it will change the world. Now basically, let's say in this world, let's say doing the Soul Tire Sludge Villain attack, it was actually an alien invasion. No, I'm not gonna do that attack. Basically, Deku is going to be, pretty much in this canon, going to be friends with Bakugo, but Bakugo, still bullies Deku and doesn't really like him that much, but still, stands up to him when other people try to bully him, other than Bakugo. Now, basically, Deku doesn't like Bakugo. Bakugo basically just bullies Deku and keeps him around him. Basically just teasing him and also pushing him down to the ground, so they're never gonna be anything, nerd. And pretty much, letting Deku follow them, but just always bullying Deku to make sure Deku just leaves him alone for one. So basically, Deku eventually just gives up, and we leave our story off right doing the Sludge Villain attack. Instead of the Sludge Villain attacking Deku, Deku's walking forwards and closes his eyes for a split second, and then Deku opens his eyes and he's in the forest. Deku's confused. The last thing Deku heard was some sort of swoosh, and Deku saw that, well, he was looking around. Deku took out his phone. He has an iPhone. He has an iPhone 12, by the way, and pretty much sees that he has no surface. Deku is confused and walks around the forest, seeing that it's very beautiful. Deku's walking and walking and walking, and eventually Deku sees some sort of Pokemon, or an animal to his perspective. Deku looks at it closer and says, "What the?" And basically Deku looks behind himself and he hears a swoosh and a portal behind somebody. He walks up over to the portal, but he misses it. He looks down and he sees a person with red hair on his knees, pretty much, confused where he is. He gets up and this man is like in pretty much a red version of Deku's canon jumpsuit. But basically, he looks at Deku and says, "Where are we? What do you do to me?" Deku says, "I should ask you that. Where are we?" Pretty much, Kirishima says, "It must have been some sort of villain attack." So, what's her name? Deku says, "I'm Izuku Midoriya." And pretty much, the kid says, "I'm Kirishima." Pretty much they start talking and they walk around the forest and they, study upon a whole entire league, a whole entire, pretty much, group of Pokemon. So basically, Deku and Kirishima see this all from a cliff and says, "This is beautiful," and pretty much saying it at the same time, looking at each other and saying, this isn't, this isn't, this isn't Japan. This isn't Earth. I've never seen any animals like this, and I've never seen any animals with quirks that make them look like this." Pretty much Deku says, "We're not in Japan anymore," and basically they hear another swoosh, and they hear a girl screaming, and they see a girl falling to her, well, death. Kirishima runs over there, and Deku runs after Kirishima, pretty much hearing a noise, or some sort of twee voice. Deku stops, and Kirishima doesn't notice Deku stopping. Deku goes into some bushes, and finds himself in some sort of waterfall area. Deku's looking around, and he sees some sort of frog-like animal. Some sort of frog-like Pokemon, more or less. Green Ninja. Not Green Ninja, but like his unevolved form. Basically, Deku walks over to it and says, "Are you okay, little guy?" He says, "Back off, man." And Deku says, "Okay, jeez." And pretty much the Pokemon stops for a second and says, "Well, do you understand me?" And Deku says, "Yeah, of course." And pretty much says, "That's kind of weird. You're an animal, but I don't know what this world's capabilities or limits are." Basically, Green Ninja explains to Deku about Pokemon in a span of a couple minutes, like 12 or 13 minutes. Kirishima looks for Deku with the girl, and basically the girl is actually Mina. Mina was falling, and she was teleported here. Basically, Mina and Kirishima walk in the same waterfall area because Deku loves some foot tracks. And Deku's still in his black, school uniform with his backpack on. And basically, Deku has a watch on, but Deku does actually have a pretty good physical body. But basically, Deku is still Deku, but Deku still has the has sort of a belly. Basically, Deku isn't as skinny, but he is like not too buff, like not as buff as he was doing the 10-month arc training after it. So Deku's still kind of skinny. Now, basically, Deku starts talking to the Pokemon and pretty much tells everybody about Pokemon, and pretty much saying that the animal told me. They look at the animal and pretty much just start talking to it, but it just says gibberish. And pretty much Kirishima says, "Is there a quirk to talk to animals or something?" Deku's confused. Deku knows that he has a quirk, but he's never been able to activate it. So Deku smiles and says, "Maybe this world is what my quirk was made for." And basically, Green Ninja says, I've heard about you, the ancient legends of Pokemon lore. A animal or a human that can understand any Pokemon." Deku says, "Cool." Basically, after that, they walk off and they get out the forest, seeing a city. They run up to the city and they look around and see payphone. They call their parent. They try to call their parents, but it's no ring and no one's picking up. And they, understand, like, they make a bet that they're in another world, and they're saying if we're in another world, their phone numbers don't exist in this world. So this world is filled with Pokemon, right? Basically, they were told about Pokemon, how they have special abilities, and they're basically like quirk people, but just animals, and they can be used to be pets, become, helpers, or more or less fight in battle to win fame, glory, and money. Basically, Kirishima says, so for us to get up in the ranks of this world, we have to build up money. Now, through the passing parts, guys, I will be introducing more characters from My Hero Academia being teleported into this world. So yeah, basically this world takes the same time in the normal world. So basically they're gonna be stuck in the Pokemon world forever, but they're gonna actually enjoy it, and they're not gonna want to go back. But yeah, so basically Kirishima, Mina, and Deku go on their journey. They go on their journey and they get started. Pretty much Deku changes out his outfit, and pretty much Green Ninja's actually on Deku's back because Green Ninja wanted to come with Deku and become his Pokemon because he wanted to be the first Pokemon of the ancient human that can talk to any Pokemon. So basically, Green Ninja, the Pokemon, jumps on Deku's shoulder. Deku and Green Ninja start their journey with Mina and Kirishima. Now, Kirishima and Mina are kind of jealous that Deku got a Pokemon off the bat before they even got one. And basically, Deku says, "It's okay, guys." Now, basically, Deku's quirk isn't just to be able to understand any Pokemon. Deku can control Pokemons, mentally, like control them as, not letting them have their own free will. But Deku's not going to be able to use that quirk to the full potential because Deku hasn't had any training with this quirk. Only training Deku has, or the only thing Deku can do with his quirk right now is just understand any Pokemon. Now, basically, Deku can telepathically communicate with a Pokemon and control it, but it takes a lot of, stamina from Deku, and Deku has a huge strain on his mind. Like, Deku has, a really bad headache afterwards, to a point of Deku's nose bleeding, and also almost his eyes bleeding as well. Now, basically, Deku, pretty much, get started, and they get started. They go on their journey, and basically, Deku walks over to the whole entire Pokemon Center and pretty much says, "So we're teenagers, right? And teenagers normally get their Pokemons like 10 or something. Maybe we can still get our Pokemons." Now, basically, you know, normally people get their Pokemons at 10. So basically, Deku, because Green Ninja have seen human children with Pokemon a lot of times. So he made a bet, and the bet was right. Basically, walk in there, and they weren't 10, but they were still in the age limit to get a Pokemon. So basically, they ask for a Pokemon, and basically they do a whole entire search, and they give them 3 choices, each of them. They give them choices, and Kirishima is choose between a Squirtle, a Charmander, and a Pikachu actually, but an unevolved version of Pikachu. Don't know what the form's called though. So basically, guys, give me a list of Pokemon these three characters should have, and each of them should have at least 3 Pokemon. Now, I already picked out the 3 Pokemon I'm going to be giving Deku: Squirtle, Green Ninja, and what was it? Squirtle, Green Ninja, and I think it was somebody else. You know what? Actually, guys, I need one more suggestion of what other Pokemon I should give Deku. But yeah, for the rest of the group, the other 2 Pokemon, I don't know this. I don't decide. I don't know what I should give them. So yeah, so basically, guys, give me a list of characters from My Hero Academia that you think should have Pokemons fit to them. Now, I already have Pokemon set to each character, but I don't know what the other 2 are going to be. So yeah, so basically, Deku, with his Green Ninja on his shoulder, pretty much sits back, waiting for them to pick a Pokemon. And pretty much Kirishima picks Charizard, looking at him, say that he kind of manly and he looks cool, and I like fire. Pretty much picking up Charmander, saying, "You're gonna be my best friend." And pretty much, walks off. Charmander is smiling, pretty much hugging Kirishima and getting on his shoulder, like Deku's Green Ninja is. And basically, they give them Pokeballs, and Kirishima gets 3, and Mina gets 3, and Deku actually gets 4, because they, think Deku's a pretty, enhanced, Pokemon trainer if he already has a Green Ninja, and is already super attached to him. And Deku told them that he got him today, so they didn't know, like, Deku's like a huge trainer or just funny that's lying. So basically, they just give Deku 4 Pokemon balls, and basically Deku, just smokes it off. They also give them some Poke trainers, or Poke, what was it, Poke Trainers, I think? Yeah, those Pokemon phones that scan, the Pokemon phones that scan the, animals. The Pokemon, and tell them their strength, weaknesses, and all other sorts of facts. So basically, Deku, sits back, and Kirishima walks out with his Charizard, and Mina picks Squirtle. Mina picked Squirtle because that's one of the other choices, and the other third choice was some sort of, it was Carba. That pathetic, black, orange and yellow Pokemon that couldn't do pretty much anything without any water. So yeah, it did evolve into something cool, but like you had to work hard for it. So yeah, so basically, they walk out of there and pretty much say, "Our journey to becoming the best Pokemon trainers we can." Pretty much later that night, they get a hotel, or more or less, they get a hotel for the night, and they get ready. And basically, Deku and Kirishima go out to get some camping stuff at a nearby store, and not knowing that not knowing that their money from Japan isn't working in the Pokemon world, they basically, go out in the night and see that it's some sort of Pokemon, fighting ring happening. Deku and Kirishima, look at each other and say this is the best opportunity to get some money. And basically, they walk up there and pretty much they start, taking out their Pokemon. Basically, Deku already had Green Ninja on his shoulder because Green Ninja doesn't like Pokeballs. So basically, Deku's Green Ninja is never in his Pokeball. Kirishima's Charizard isn't in a Pokemon ball, but when they're sleeping, Charmander is kind of sleeping just around the room, or around Kirishima. So basically, Kirishima takes out his Charizard and pretty much says, "I want to fight." They put Charizard into a ring, and they pick, Kirishima on the side of Charizard, and another player on the side, on the back of basically a very strong Pokemon for a beginner. Basically, Kirishima doesn't know what to do with, Charizard. He does know Charizard's abilities, but he doesn't know how, when they use them or how this works. Basically, the man has a full-on Charizard, evolved Charizard, basically, a full evolved Charmander. Or Charizard. No, Kirishima has a Charmander, and he has a Charizard. Now, Charizard looks at Charmander and smiles or smucks, and pretty much shoots a huge ball of flames. And basically, the whole entire, block or, stun or anything, that doesn't work. They basically just tell their Pokemon to do something or to fight them, and they do. Pretty much the other trainer on the side with black hair pretty much tells, you know, um, Charizard to blast fireball at, Charizard. Charizard gets blasted away because he's a level 1, and basically he has no trigger at all. He automatically gets folded, and I mean folded. It's burn marks everywhere. Kirishima runs off of his stadium and runs off of his post, and runs to Charmander saying, "Are you okay?" And pretty much tilting his head up, pretty much trying to give him CPR. Pretty much Deku walks in there, pretty much says, "Stop." And pretty much the man looks at Deku and says, "Yo, you take his place. This is an underground fighting ring, kid. You have to win or else we're gonna take your Pokemon." Pretty much Deku pretty much gets angry about this and tells, Green Ninja, "Do you know how to fight?" Green Ninja says, "I don't, but I can learn." Then pretty much, takes Green Ninja and throws him down. Green Ninja's a wild Pokemon, but he does have a little bit of, street smarts and a little bit of fighting. Now basically Deku tells Green Ninja to use water shuriken. Pretty much Green Ninja says, "I don't know how to use that move yet." And pretty much Deku says, "Dang it," and pretty much, says, okay. And pretty much puts him, Japan hacking and says, "Dodge, weave," pretty much telling him to do boxer type of things. Pretty much, the Charizard shoots, tries to shoot, or tries to blast, Green Ninja, but Green Ninja dodges all of it pretty fast, and pretty much starts punching it in all sorts of other areas, and pretty much he says, "Shoot water on his tail," and pretty much Green Ninja says, "What? Shoot water on his tail?" And pretty much Green Ninja shoots a blast of water at Charmander's tail, and Charmander falls falls down to the ground, pretty much having some sort of seizure. The man walks over to his Charizard and says, "Are you okay?" And pretty much, try to give a CPR or try to lit his tail back on. They do call, the nurse or like a nurse that's around to help the Pokemon. And pretty much they walk off there and they earn about $5,000 by taking down one of their top, fighters. Basically they walk off and Kirishima says, "What was that? You almost killed that Pokemon." Pretty much Deku says, "This is a world of fighting and winning. They were going to take our Pokemons away. We had to win." Pretty much Kirishima says, "Kinda right." And pretty much says, "Well, that was pretty manly, bro." And Deku says, "Yeah, thank you." And pretty much they walk to the hotel, and they see, Mina playing with Charmander. I mean, Squirtle. Now, basically, Deku walks over to, Kirishima and pretty much says, "So, we need to start training." Then, last night, the next morning, Deku wakes up both of them and takes them out to a field to start training. They say, "We have to start training. We're gonna go after some low-level animals like that." And pretty much points to some sort of bird Pokemon. And pretty much, Kirishima takes out his Pokédex and pretty much scans and says, "That's a pretty leveled up Pokemon." And Deku says, "I got it. I took down a Charizard on my first day of having a Pokemon, or my first night of having a Pokemon." Pretty much he walks over to the pretty much bird Pokemon, not knowing his name, first throwing or telling his pretty much what was it, his Greninja to basically go for a full head sprint fight right towards the bird Pokemon. Pretty much Greninja runs over to the basically bird Pokemon and runs over to it and shoots water at its face. The bird Pokemon spits it out and pretty much runs towards or flies towards the Green Ninja and grabs him by the shoulders, pretty much flying away. Deku runs after Green Ninja, jumping onto pretty much, bricks of wood and trees, and eventually grabbing Green Ninja, but falling into a river and being, splashed away. Kirishima follows them, and Kirishima uses his hardening quirk to cut himself a piece of wood and throw it on the ground, making some sort of kind of, a waterboard. And pretty much sliding towards Deku, grabbing Deku out of the water with Green Ninja. Green Ninja pretty much starts, shaking, and Kirishima uses his hardening quirk to latch onto some, pieces of wood and swim to shore, or to the side of the river, and gets out of the river. They get out of the river, and Deku crosses over to water, but they try to give, Green Ninja some CPR, but Green Ninja's sort of a water type Pokemon, so he's okay. And basically, he says, He says to Deku that I feel weird, and pretty much he looks at himself and he sees that he's changing. And eventually he evolves into this. And this type of taller, more lankier, pretty much version of himself. He says, I feel better, I feel stronger. And pretty much he hugs Deku saying thank you. Deku says, you're welcome, and pretty much, hugs him back. Kirishima and Mina says, "Aww," and pretty much they hear the swoosh effect. They both look behind themselves and they see some sort of, pretty much bird head guy on top of a tree with, his hands on top of it, pretty much using his quirk to fly himself down to the ground or cushion his fall. Pretty much, he looks over to them and says, what the? And pretty much we're gonna leave it off here, guys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now, part 2 will be a little bit better, depending on the, requesters, what part 2 should be about. Now, guys, see you guys later. Bye. Deuces. As always, guys, have a blessed day.